You've probably heard that shadow work means going into the dark, facing your jealousy, your rage, your shame, those parts of you that we're not so proud of. And yes, that is such the real work. But I want to talk today about another aspect of the shadow that not a lot of people are really naming. So many of the queer women that I work with, one of the things that they're most afraid of is not the darkness, but their power, their desire, their brilliance, the parts of them that they may not even recognize exist yet. This was referred to as the golden shadow. And for queer women specifically, women who were taught in so many ways to make ourselves smaller in order to survive, this is one of the more difficult aspects of ourselves to take in, so it often gets neglected in the healing work. Most of us learn in shadow work, which is incredibly important, and I cannot emphasize how important it is, but it's just the place where we only hide what we consider ugly, the part that we don't want to look at, the part that a lot of people see in us that we don't want to see in ourselves, and that comes out in things like gossip. But this other piece I'm talking about was first sort of talked about by Barbara Hanna, a Jungian analyst that worked closely with Jung, was one of the only women that worked with him. She was part of the inner circle, and she did a lot of writing and theorizing on her own. And she talked about the positive qualities of our psyche that are repressed. So I love bringing her into the conversation because it's so important to keep recognizing the women who are part of the depth psychology lineage that are often left out or just not even spoken about because Jung looms so large. And of course, he was the patriarchal leader at the time of his thinking, but there were so many other people that were a part of his circle that influenced him and had a big part of the whole thinking that we know of as depth psychology. Then there was also Robert Bly, who came along, and he talked about the long bag we drag behind us that's like there, but we don't want to see it. Also, where the good qualities, the golden shadow qualities, can hide from ourselves. It's also important to remember when we are growing up and developing that in order to survive and in order to stay connected to our attachment figures, we will often hide these brilliant parts of ourselves that may have made our parents or our society around us uncomfortable. Your sensitivity may have been mocked. Authority figures may have pulled away when you were outspoken, expressed your opinions. If your desire, your same-sex desire, or your gender variance was uncomfortable for those around you, you would have certainly learned how to hide them once it became known to yourself that it was not okay for you to have this part of yourself open and out to people around you. So all of this, what the golden shadow part means is that we then start squashing our aliveness. And we start protecting, pushing out of our own awareness those parts of us that are really dynamic, brilliant, and bright, and alive. And I see this over and over again. And part of moving through the dark parts of the shadow is it starts to expose the golden parts. So I see in lesbian and queer women so much dynamism and intelligence and emotional intelligence and strength, positivity, and things like that. However, underneath all of that can be the disowned self, a self that knows what she wants, is discovering who she is, and has this deep desire to be who she is, love who she wants, have relationships with women. That part cannot be restricted in so many of us. And you'll see this going back deep into lesbian history, deep into the beginning of the 19th century, which I also talk about in other videos and in some of my social media carousels and things like that. And even though we had to learn to hide so many golden shadow aspects of ourselves to survive, they also come out in these secret societies and in ways that we connect with each other regardless of how we have to do it, whether we have to do it secretly, like back a long time ago. that golden shadow, that brilliant, strong, dynamic part of ourselves that longs to be free and live exactly how it wants to live, is always around, and it's more powerful ultimately than society that tries to squash us for so many of us. It's so important that we're able to learn about this. And one of the ways I've found is to see how we may be projecting our own desire. So think of a woman that you're attracted to, someone that's confident and sensual, or has creative fire about her, or a refusal to shrink, and see how that makes you feel. Do you feel envy? Do you feel awe? Do you feel desire? Do you feel longing? Do you feel attraction? Maybe even some irritation? This is all information. These feelings are just information. Again, our feelings are just so important because they tell us so much about what's going on. We don't have to necessarily believe them all or get carried away by them. And if you're really into them, it's not random. It's something to think about. And in Jungian psychology and depth psychology, projection happens when we have not reclaimed or claimed those parts of ourselves. We see it really vividly in others, but we don't see it in ourselves yet. But they captivate us because they're actually so familiar. And it's also a map, not necessarily a map to be with that person or even know her or what have you, but a map back to yourself. So I want you to think of somebody, write down those qualities, and then imagine that you may have those qualities as well. And I know this may not be that easy. It can be a hard exercise in the beginning, but it can be so powerful when we start to entertain the idea that we hold these qualities. And just even if you can't feel it yet, to just hold space for it and say, yes, I might be really interesting like she is, or I might be really captivating like she is, or I might be really smart like she is. It is trying to lead you back to yourself. So instead of having this idealization for somebody else, we can start to internalize the understanding of those qualities of ourselves and hopefully move away from a lot of the toxic shame we may feel and move more to an embodied sense of who we are. And that doesn't mean throwing out our shadow parts, because there's our triggers and traumas and things we still need to look out for and work on. But it's to have them kind of both at the same time. It makes us more of an integrated, stronger person who has a really felt sense of self that can start moving through the world with this confidence, embodiment that is just authentic. And so it's not about feeling insecure anymore, or not good enough, or not lovable or likable or worthy. These are the things that these aspects of our inner gold can start to highlight for us. And I think it's so important that we do this work, because it's so easy to sort of get trapped either in the healing trauma work or get stuck in allowing those voices that keep telling us we're not good enough to the ones that we keep around too often and too much. This is a really powerful piece of our work. So if you admire anyone, it may be honestly yourself. I am so grateful, as always, that you joined me here today. I know your time is valuable. I'm so grateful that you're here. I hope that you continue to find my videos helpful. I've got a lot of resources down below. I've got a lot of really fun ebooks and things you can download for free. Say you're healing from a breakup, I've got an ebook for that. If you're looking to change your patterns in relationships, I've got an ebook for that. And if you're looking for some self-regulating tools, some ways to calm yourself down when you're feeling upset or triggered or overwhelmed, I've got an ebook for that. My last kind of piece here, I just wanted to say that I've had to do this work myself. I really didn't have a hard time doing the shadow work around the dark parts. For me, I was like, oh yes, I've got a lot of dark stuff. I want to heal that. I want to heal my traumas. I want to heal my childhood wounds. I want to heal all the things that I see in myself that, I'd like to shift the way I experience them. I don't want to feel so bad about myself all the time. The next layer of work was embracing the golden shadow and getting to a place where I was like, oh, I can see that. People say that about me, or I see that in somebody else that I really admire or idealize. I can have those qualities too. And I can't say that it was easy. It has been such a process. It has been such a huge learning curve to start to internalize it authentically so that it becomes a working part of who I am, that it is embodied and integrated. I had to do a lot of therapy around it, a lot of parts work, a lot of meditation, a lot of somatic stuff, EMDR and other somatic kind of exercises, a lot of breathing, a lot of slowing my system down enough so that it's not so revved up in survival mode all the time where it can't integrate anything. So I do really feel that no one in my position, anyone that's doing sort of a psychologist or any healer out there, we cannot pass on anything that we haven't done ourselves. I've been doing all this work that I talk about a lot. I've been doing it for over 25 years. So thank you again for joining me today. And if you like this video, please like it and subscribe to my channel. I'm excited to be sending out a lot more videos over time. And thank you again. So hope to see you soon.